I was about to embark on an amazing journey. 2 months from Tokyo to Nagasaki, stopping off at 24 cities along the way. And where do we go first but Mount Fuji? Join me on this journey of a lifetime.
So I'm just walking down a random street, and it honestly feels like Mount Fuji in the background is just cheating. Like the pictures you get, the views you get, just with that there, just towering into the sky. Oh, it's gone. It's beautiful. Every journey has a beginning, and I don't think there's a better start to a journey than this. I'm going on a massive tour across over 20 cities between Tokyo and all the way down to Kumamoto/Nagasaki. Not quite decided yet. And where better to start such a momentous journey than Mount Fuji itself, which is just so breathtaking. I'm here for 1 week, and they say snow tends to fall between September and October, and my last day is October 29. So let's see what else there is to do in the city of Fujiyoshida, and if we get any snow on top of that mountain. Let's stay on the walk back now. Just feel like it's worth noting there's an actual chill in the air. My arms are cold because I've decided to wear just a shirt because it was warm when I was going out, but the weather has changed.
Before going out for dinner, I had a quick look around my hotel room. It was nice, but what was most impressive was the toilet. I have never in my whole year in Japan been in a toilet that does this. It opens as you come in, what?
So the thing which is most apparent, which might sound a bit silly to say, is just how dark it is at night here. After spending 5 weeks in Tokyo, where going out at night is practically indifferent to going out during the day in terms of how light it is. Whereas here, as you can see, street lights are quite uncommon. It's just mostly from shops or from cars that are actually giving you the light. So I'm here for a week, and I think it's going to be a few evenings in, but tonight, a quest. Something else I didn't know I'd missed either. The stars in the sky. It's just like the only light we can even see in the background, just here, is the theme park right by Fuji. This is not our mission today. That is another day. Now, here is where our mission will take place. You may or may not be aware, but I am addicted to the Don Quixote only banana milk. And there's not going to be a Don Quixote that has it everywhere, because not even all the ones in Tokyo sell it. But even in front of Mount Fuji, we have a Don Quixote. So our mission, which we're going to accept, is to go in and try and find some milk. And the moment of truth. First look and think. They have strawberry by itself. They only have strawberry. But then, there it is. Banana milk. Saved one. And massive success. Got our banana milk. That should see us through to day 2.
I did a quick tour of my hotel proper once I got back, just to look at the nice little lobby area, and then the 2 most important features. Number 1, they had a Rapunzel. For some reason, I love Rapunzel, that makes me happy. Number 2, free bread, every day, breakfast, sorted.
So day 2, and I've got some postcards to send, and actually one of these is kindly given for free by the hostel I'm staying at, so you can get a nice little memento to send someone there. And the directions for the post office are very, very simple. Head towards the massive mountain and turn left. It's exactly what I wanted to do today anyway. My aim is just to go and get a bunch of nice pictures with ordinary things and Mount Fuji in the background. Coming up in the next 2 days, we've got a lovely onsen to visit, we've got another town to visit, we've got the theme park to visit, and I think a day of just editing. So, let's enjoy. There's a bit of cloud in front of the mountain today, which I think is the normal state of things. So I think I was quite lucky that it was perfectly clear yesterday. Yeah, I've got my picture, but post office closed on Sundays. Didn't occur to me. So that plan's over with. There are some cats here, hello cats, but there's no way to see Fuji at the same time as them. Hopefully there'll be some more somewhere else. You can really appreciate the scale of Mount Fuji. I thought Fujiyoshida was close. But I can't imagine I could just keep walking straight forever and I'd never reach Mount Fuji. There is no Fuji in sight here. This is a wonderful little forest with its own shrine that I think makes up for it. Now I can't remember where I saw it, but just in that shrine there was a sign saying if you keep going in this direction, you get, to the base of Fuji. I'm not equipped for that today because I forgot my water bottle already, and I'm wearing my sandals. We're not going for that today, but it does say if we head 250 meters we can see something else interesting. And here is the trail, and once again there is a bear sign. There was one of those yesterday, but I felt surrounded by people, so I was quite okay with it. But I haven't got the bear bells today, and I'm not going up Fuji because you can't even go up during this time of the year. So I think this is as far as I'm going today. But it's been a nice little walk, a nice little view. The entire mountain is shrouded by the trees here, which is fine. Which means for my objective today, back we go.
I love it when I realise I've entered this temple in a very weird way. There's the main entrance here, which is lovely that everyone else is going down, but this is just my exit.
I think one thing to note when you're in Fuji is that half the time you're walking towards the mountain when you're going places, you get that beautiful view. But just because you're going in another direction doesn't mean you don't get it. Now I'm walking away from Fuji downhill, but all around there's still gorgeous mountains. Now nothing beats the main attraction behind me, but in any other city these landscapes behind would awe me. So everywhere you look there's something beautiful. Alright, and just for the record, I found a second post office that's actually open for today, so my postcards will be saved. So this is what the mountain often looks like. You can barely see it in the background for all the clouds. I got very lucky on my first day, it was entirely clear, and I'm now wondering if every other day there's going to be something in the way. But this kind of takes away from it. But for the most part, the skies have been clear. So each day we'll see how that develops. Now, after a brief stop back at my hotel to get some more bread for lunch, I'm heading out for the second location of today, which is Fuji Highland, which is the theme park. Book off would be a good one, but the mountain is there. It's just clouds. And if you feel bad about going into a convenience and not buying anything, you don't need to, but if you do, you can get an amiibo for 12 yen, which is about 10 cents American. So you can buy something that costs basically nothing, and they're actually quite nice. It's got in. I'm so excited. Thomas Land, I'm going. So, surprisingly, this is a theme park, but there's a few in Japan where it's actually 100% free to enter. Just get a free ticket and walk around to your heart's content. It costs money to go on any ride, and if you want to go on lots of rides, you'll save money by buying a ticket for that. But I just want to walk around Thomas Land, so let's go. It's me and my boy Thomas. This was the last thing I had on my guest list for Mount Fuji. But infuriatingly, can't find anywhere I can get a picture of Mount Fuji and Thomas. Like, this is the best picture I could get, and it's pretty rubbish. So I'm gonna search around a bit more, see if there's any better angles. But like, this is literally Fuji theme park. Why is everything not centered around taking a picture of Fuji? It's like, that's the point, right? There's just trees in the way. The best we can do is literally a picture of Thomas's bum and Mount Fuji. Like, that'll do. Oh, and what else is this? It's our boy Naruto, apparently. I didn't expect to find Naruto either, but that's more likely than Thomas, the tank engine, but it's still nothing with Fuji in the way. It's almost by design. I wonder why they just... I know theme parks normally like to kind of take themselves apart from everywhere else, like engross you, but this feels like the one place it shouldn't. Oh well, it's still fun. And for someone like me who enjoys the theming more than rides, I get to just walk around for free, it's a pretty good deal. And if you're an adrenaline junkie, some of these do look pretty good. And of course, Evangelion. So the total visit to see all these things is 0 yen, but I have decided to get a sneaky little snack for 400 to... I've paid something. And here we are at the end of the theme park into a lovely little starry bit that probably looks nicer in an hour, but I have some places I want to see before it gets dark. There's actually a nice little shopping street here.
Please select another attraction. We apologize for the inconvenience. Please select another attraction.
And as we come to the evening twilight of the second day, we can turn to look to Fuji. Where is it? Where is it? Yeah, it's there. Actually, you can't see it at all because it is completely covered with cloud. When people said it was covered with clouds, you couldn't really see it. I never expected it to be like that covered. I feel extremely lucky that my first day was just pristine. Right, day 3, and it's actually really cold today. This is the coldest daytime I've had in Japan. It's misty everywhere. Wow, that is so misty. First look at Fuji, I reckon we're not even going to be able to see it.
Definitely not. Holy wow. It's actually incredibly the opposite way. You just can't see anything.
I did have plans, but I'm going to push those back a day now, because there's no point in going somewhere from Fuji on a day like this. This is why I booked a visit here for a week. And I had the luxury of doing that. You probably don't if you're coming here for a few weeks trip. I initially planned to visit Fuji for a week, but I expected a lot of days like this where maybe the visibility isn't good enough. But I'm very lucky that on my first day, it was so amazing. It's just been on a day like today. There's not much interesting going on. So there's only 2 small things on my list to do. So in terms of what you can do on a foggy day, if you're like me personally, you like collecting stamps, Mount Fuji Station has you covered.
Now there was somewhere I felt I needed to go, and that was to the pagoda again. Even though there would be no view, that meant that nobody else was there as well, and it meant that I could really get a before and after shot to see what an observatory's like when there's nothing to observe.
Because if you actually look behind me, well, there's no Mount Fuji to speak of. If you don't choose your day well, you can end up with a day like this. And that's not to say this doesn't have its own wonder. It's beautiful in another way, but that's because I've already seen it. Oh, and by the way, yes, I did walk all the way up and down these stairs just to get that before and after clip, because I really wanted that. These stairs are painful. I wish I knew what this sound was. Somewhere over there. It's kind of deafening. Now, you might be thinking to yourself, what can you do on a rainy day in Fujiyoshida? Now, you might be thinking to yourself, what can you do in a rainy day on Fujiyoshida? Because going up there isn't quite the same without Fuji. I wanted to do it for the comparison. And the answer is, I don't really know. But I have some editing to catch up on. And I'm here for a week. So that's what I'm going to spend my day doing. Let's hope tomorrow the weather is clear enough for my plans. So there's a loud voice you may be able to hear in the background. And I know it's election season right now in Japan. So I'm assuming it's just that. Because no one looks particularly rushed or anything. If it's a loud voice, it either means it's an emergency or they're campaigning. So I'm just hope it's the latter. I want to say, credit where it's due, the free bread here. Very good. This is a feature I can get behind. So there's something I like to do each morning. I can just walk out of my hostel and 10 seconds away, there's this lovely little gate. And behind that, I get a view. And it snowed on the mountain. I want a closer look. You can't see it here very well. And there we go. There we go. It's hidden behind the camera so you can see the peak. We're going somewhere today. Hopefully means we can get a better view. And if you need, and there's another Umaibo hack that you should know. If you're in need of change, most Japanese companies won't actually give it to you unless you're using one of their services. But if you decide to go in and buy 2 of these for 12 yen each and give them a 1,000 yen note, you'll get all the change you need back for basically no cost. So because I'm very smart, I didn't look up my bus time before I left, and I got to the bus stop and it was half an hour away. And I didn't want to stand around for half an hour, it's kind of cold. So I just walked along the bus's route, and we're going to do that until it's time for the bus to arrive. And so far that's saved me about 50 yen. value. Well, I made a last minute travel change. I mean, the bus seemed to cost a lot more. I got on the bus for like 5 minutes and it was like 200 yen. So a bit annoying, but this view's worth it, so I'll take it. One thing I really enjoy in the snow is when you look, you can just make out the climbing trail zigzagging back and forth. Just had my first little conversation with a Japanese person. We've spoken a bit of English with the Japanese. They wish me to enjoy Japan, and oh, I am enjoying. I don't think the video really captures how deep this is. This is a 7 meters deep pond with the fish, and you can see the coins at the bottom, and that's really cool. If you do visit this wonderful pond, which I highly recommend, check out the Yoshino Tourism Centre. They had postcards for 30 yen each, which I thought was a pretty good deal. And then for buying 2, they gave me a set of 8 as a free gift. So, I mean, I've got a lot of postcards to send now. Today is yet another victory for going just a bit off the beaten path. I kind of walked in one direction and realised it was the wrong way and go for it. And you can just see behind me, this is the clearest view of Fuji I've seen in this area yet. Like, it's nice to have all the beautiful things in the way, but just that by itself. And some telephone poles, but don't worry about that. Today is the first day that it's been actually cold during the day. My hands are actually cold and I don't have gloves, even if I own them in Japan.
Sometimes what I do is go on Google and just look up the points that stand out and go to them. This was a historic pond. It's nice to go where few people will have had cause to as a tourist.
Now, I took a detour about 15 minutes in order to reach this area because I thought it was the start of a lovely flower trail that you're about to see. But actually, this is just another way to get in. So, good use of time, but it's nice being around this much forest while having a barrier. I think it's a bit of a silly thought, but I still want to record it. Just walking alongside these forests that are like perfectly preserved. And then a main road right next to it. Makes you think that just like, you know, before we humans trot along, the whole world was basically just like this. And then we've made it to our whims. And when you imagine that somewhere like Tokyo was once not dissimilar to this, I imagine. It just blows the mind what we've achieved. And finally, at last, we've reached the end of the forest. And emerging to this, turns out it's worth walking through after all. And here I finally am, the destination of my journey. The flower park in front of Fuji. flowers really do add something to it. I'm not much of a flower guy, but that's beautiful. I mean, you know, Fuji doesn't need anything special to be beautiful, but it'll take a little help. In Japan, there's always some kind of work going on. It's kind of, most days you'll see something happening, whereas in the UK, it's rare that there's any work being done. Repairing a basic pothole takes untold months. Now, after all this walking, we finally reach my final destination, and there's a nice surprise here that I love. This is Lake Yamanaka, and by God, there were so many birds. I really like birds and ducks in particular, and by God, the lake is just full of them. Right next to Fuji, but birds. I'm going to keep walking this direction away from Fuji just a little bit, because there's one park I want to see about 1 kilometer straight ahead, and then we're going to go back, explore the little village area in front of Fuji, and then that's it for the day. Here it is, the last stop. A lovely place to sit with focus camera, Fuji in the background. So I just have 2 little Maibo snacks to eat while we're here, and then it's time to go back. And as a special Mount Fuji bonus, I found a chocolate for Maibo in the convening. So let's see how this tastes, this last one. Just Maibo in the middle, chocolate on the outside. It's actually pretty good. And full chocolate and crisp go together. Feels just like a snack, it's chocolate, but I approve. Oh, look at that, look at that. Family Mart sign subdued. And with that, we've made it to the main town area, a little look around, and then going home. And then going home for a very special meal. And as I walk from my bus once again, I can't actually see Fuji walking this way, but there's a lovely sunset behind me. As great as Fuji is, you can't underestimate that. Even if you have to look in another direction, it's still pretty fantastic. A beautiful orange sunset over there. I'll take it. The amazing meal promise. I wanted a bit more today, so I've running quite a while, and it's just fancy the mood, so that's what we've gone for. Next day, and I'm wondering if the allure of Fuji has worn off, because I just realised I just walked past it, didn't even look, and now I can just about, and now it's covered by a massive building. So I'm looking forward to seeing what it looks like today, because I'm going to an onsen that supposedly has views from it, and I think being in that lovely hot water staring at Fuji sounds divine. I spent 1 week at Mount Fuji knowing that sometimes the mountain can be fickle in terms of not giving you a good view, as I just found out on my trip. What I didn't expect was that on almost every day of my trip, it gave itself a different light and really made me appreciate it. Now, obviously I can't actually film in this onsen, because I'm not a YouTuber with those special privileges. I don't know Japanese to ask the question. But, so I'll just include a few stock photos here to show what it's like, and hopefully it'll be good. And here we go, the main reason anyone would really come to Mount Fuji. Don Quixote, Mount Fuji, one shot. But no, this onsen right here is why we're really here. So I had a lovely time in that onsen. My favourite of them actually was a tepid bath, which was like just the perfect temperature after you've been in another one to relax, because other onsens I've seen just have cold, and that's horrible. But unfortunately, while you could see Fuji from inside, you couldn't see it from any onsen bath. You could only see it while standing up in between baths. And this is a purposeful design decision because the building gets in the way constantly. So I enjoyed it, and I actually overstayed my welcome. I've stayed a little bit longer and I might be late for the next place I wanted to go. So it's still lovely, but I think if you're a tourist, I wouldn't recommend it, but it seems good for locals, so there you go. However, even at the risk of being late, one thing cannot be given up. I need my milk.
And I was on time to record this time lapse of Mount Fuji going from sunset to darkness. Enjoy.
Yo, I just struggled walking up and down those steps, and I just saw someone run down and past me and then run back up them. I've done a lot of walking. I think I'm fit, I'm not that fit.
I didn't want to descend the mountain in complete darkness, so I finished the last bit of my time lapse at the bottom of the mountain, where you can see Fuji truly turn from an outline into nothingness.
So I just sat down to make that second time lapse. You can barely see anything there. But as I do, a Japanese person does approach me and has a bit of conversation that's nice. I don't understand any of it, and I tell them I don't understand, but they keep going, I literally pick out a word here I understand. A yuki is a snow, a kuni is a country. I try my best. But we stand and watch Fuji become a shadow. And now it's basically there. I've got my walk home facing it, and then I reckon it won't exist. Well, it'll exist, but I won't be able to see it by the time I get there. So that was interesting. Yeah, they did cough, so hopefully I'm fine. But anyway, onwards. And today, for my penultimate day, I'm here in Kawaguchou, which is another little town around Fuji that has another lake. So we're going to go and visit that. And here is my first view of the lake, and I actually thought maybe I could walk around this, but it's deceptive. The lake does look like you could walk around it in a pretty reasonable amount of time, but as we're going to see, there's a lot more lake in that direction. lake is really nice. There's a wonderful view behind me. I stared at that, and then I turned around. And I mean, I've been here for almost a week, but Fuji's still just looking at it, it's just beautiful. The snow, as we can see today, has climbed up a little higher. I don't think that counts as a full face of Fuji, but it's different every day. The climbing route is much more pronounced. You probably can't see on video. Now, I have not taken many panorama shots during my journey, but I'm just going to put this one up because just to catch the full scale of seeing the lakes, even one panorama shot is not enough. Just to see everything leading back here. What a lovely lake this is.
A little bit more, I did get my favourite photo on this trip of the Monado with Mount Fuji behind it. My favourite sword from my favourite game, with now my favourite mountain. Perfect.
And I came here to do what I wanted to do. I wanted to get a look at the lake, and it was absolutely wonderful. But it's actually, but I did actually set off kind of late today, so I have to. So there's only an hour of sunlight left, and I don't want to walk home in the dark, so heading back. Oh, but this is beautiful. Last thing for today. Supporting local business because I've got blisters and I need some plasters for them. But went to a very local store. So I think behind me right now, this is another phase of Fuji I'm appreciating. The bottom of it, completely covered by clouds, shrouded in darkness all around it. You can just make out the dark ridges and the snow on top. It's well, it's hidden by these signs now, but there's so many beautiful faces to this mountain. So book off is a discount shop. So they had the new well, not the newest Pokemon games, but still kind of old, for £6.50 each. So we got 2 of them, because why not? And for my last day in Fuji, it's clouded up, it's clouded up, but you can just about make out the bottom of it. So my plan for today, I've got one more tourist attraction to see, and then I'm going to go to the pagoda room, just to see one last face of Fuji. And here we are, half an hour walk out and just a long walk just through a bunch of houses, and we've reached the pond. It's a Fuji feature away from Fuji. Mount Fuji is behind them trees, so you just get to enjoy the water. It's currently October, so they're looking a little bit worse for wear, but it's still pretty unique. And there's like these buds that I recognise from Zelda that I've never seen in real life before, but there we go. And as if by magic, it looks like the clouds have cleared from Fuji as I go to watch my final sunset on it. Let's hope it stays that way.
And I was glad to have come from a different direction this time. As you can see on my walk, there were different pieces of art showing different parts of Fuji at different times of year, just all along the main path. It was nice to not miss these.
and it feels apt. It was actually kind of perfect. As soon as I got up here, you could see half of Fuji, and now it's midnight, it's drawn in. It's gone. And it's the final night. I went into a KFC, and there was a massive queue, and they weren't serving anyone. There's currently cars clogging up the main road to try and get in. So KFC must be really popular for some reason today.
So instead, the only other thing around was a McDonald's. It wasn't my plan to go twice in 1 week, but here we are.
And as for my final view of Fuji, well, actually there's no view, it's just clouds on the bottom of the mountain a bit. So that's the kind of the perfect way to end this video, that there's all the faces you can see, but just because you come here, it doesn't mean you're going to be, frankly, as lucky as I am and see basically a different side of Fuji every single day.
While I waited for my train, there was two things to do. The first was to look at a model of the old city, as it was at the base of Fuji, from the tourism centre, and the second was to get a Pikachu gacha, which has a Mount Fuji symbol on it. And I'm just going to let it play out in its entirety, because something happened.
Ah, すみません。
大丈夫ですか？あ、3コイン、3コイン。
はいはい。
Yes, 1 coin only. No, 3 coin. Yes.
これは3コイン。
3個目。OK。あとこれ。OK です。
見ません。見ません。
OK、出ました。OK です。日本語上手ですね。
You can hear my poor Japanese as they helped me and said I was Nihongo Jozu, which means you're skilled at Japanese. But I had a nice little interaction. It's nice when someone helps you out when you don't realise that you've not put one of the coins in because it's fallen out.
And now while I'm waiting for my train, let's see what we got. I've not opened a gachapon before. And we have this. Oh, this has got the little sliding doors on. This is cool. First gachapon. First gacha, very happy. So we've just finished up with Mount Fuji and now we're going to Nagano. I've had my first foray with Japanese rural trains and found out I can't actually buy my connecting ticket at this station. So I have to get a bit of an earlier train to give myself time to buy a new ticket so I can then go on the 5-hour train up to Nagano.